This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Gianna, and thank you to Sphere Rocket VA for getting us connected with yet another icon. Today we are talking to Rob Brown. Welcome to the show this morning.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course, we're excited to get to know all about you. So why don't you take us back to the beginning? You know, who's Rob Brown? Where are you from? How'd you find yourself in real estate?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Fredericton, New Brunswick, which I guess New Brunswick is the sort of the we'll call it the far east coast of Canada. Been here my whole life, other than a little stint when I was young. I lived in Indiana in a little town called Valparaiso. But other than that, I've been Canadian my whole life. And I worked in the auto industry for about 19 years and was sort of tired of working with everybody else and making everybody else money. And I thought, hey, I should really investigate this real estate business, because I've been asked several times from other colleagues that are currently in the business to join the ranks of real estate. And sure enough, the year I turned 40, my wife said, you better pick up your exam books and start studying. So I did. And 5 years into it now, and we had an opportunity to move our team over to EXP from another brokerage, and we helped open up the New Brunswick market. So that's the short version. Okay,
awesome. So then how did you said that the brokerage brought you over to EXP, so everybody was kind of coming over. Were you given like the option to go somewhere else, obviously, or were you like, man, EXP
no,
is like seems
it was a team. It was a team decision. So we left the brokerage. That brokerage still exists. So our team made the decision to move over.
Cool. So what did you like about EXP originally?
So oddly enough, other members of our team had been exploring EXP as well, sort of without chatting with each other about it. and then one day we sort of realized that we were all on the same page, and we really liked the idea of sort of being agent owned. We liked the idea that, you know, we weren't really building the coffers for some owner in the background, you know, the fact that it's publicly traded, so it's very transparent. Just the whole structure of it, the opportunity to, you know, be a shareholder, the opportunity to welcome other agents and attract other agents. You know, there's just a lot of the formula just made sense for who we are and what we wanted to do to build our businesses.
Absolutely. No, that's incredible. So then you saw the formula, you saw the model, you came over, you liked it, you've been here a while, you're kicking butt at it. So what makes Rob say, you know, I'm never leaving EXP?
Well, so 1 year into EXP, I had some goals, and that was to cap and to Icon. Mm-hmm. So I'm very fortunate to hit Icon in my first year with EXP. And so when you see those shares that get dumped into your ShareWorks, and you know that they're vested for 3 years, you know you're sticking around for at least 3 years to cash those in, right? So you start to see the future, and you start to see the growth. Just last month, I was able to attract 2 new agents, you know, so you get to mentor them. When I became Icon, I was asked to join the Canadian coaching team. So a lot of neat things have happened for me to be able to share my knowledge, but also to learn with others. So it's really been a huge benefit that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so then we'll talk about that later. Kind of, obviously, it seems like you're into mentorship, but that's a huge staple about being an Icon agent is the cultural, how you give back. But first, before we dive into the Icon Award, Rob, I want to know, like, with this crazy life you live, you know, you said you've got a wife, so you've got a family, and you're a high-producing agent, you're part of a team. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of spinning gears. So how, at the end of the day, do you take care of Rob? How do you make sure that you don't have burnout mode?
Well, up until last fall, I was a pretty avid climber. I I busted my left shoulder, so I haven't been able to climb for the last 4 months.
Dang.
But so I've also gained 20 pounds by not by,
But
by
not
not
being active in climbing.
by not being able to be as active as I once was. But thankfully, with some physiotherapy, I'm back to being my active self. So I have 2 daughters, 1 son, a 4-year-old wild golden retriever, or sorry, golden doodle, and my wife. So we have a very active, busy household. And what I do to take care of myself is I do make sure that I take time every day to do a little bit of reflection. I sort of have the same start routine to my day, which is funny. People will laugh at me, but I do my Wordle puzzle, and my wife and I sit beside each other, and we each do our Wordle and see who can get it faster and who can get it in less attempts. And
that's so funny.
My dog sits on my lap, and I have my cup of coffee.
Doodle? Your doodle sits on your lap?
She's a 45 pounder, and she still thinks thinks she's a puppy. So,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
So she sits there, and then we have our coffee, and I take the dog for a walk, and then I start my work day. Yeah. And then I take breaks throughout the day. I'm also a bit of a cyclist, so I'll get on my bike and ride. The beautiful thing about that is you get into that headspace where you have to be very focused. So that's why I like climbing, and that's why I like biking, because those are activities that really take a lot of mental strength as well as physical. So that just helps me break up my day. So I'm not, nonstop working, right? It's you need to take that time for yourself to, just to be better at what you do and everything.
A good balance. What even is there? Like, how was it ever humanly possible for us to think that a human could sit down at the desk and work for 8 hours? Sure. I think it's wrong. It's cruel.
I did it for 19 years. Yeah.
No way. We gotta evolve. This is not it for us, folks. Well, that's awesome. It sounds like you've got a good little balance going on, and kind of keeps you moving and active throughout the day, and like recharge. So you're your best self when facing clients, and it's good. As stressful as real estate can get, to step away and to be able to go for a short bike ride instead of wanting to smash your client's face. I don't know, whatever it is.
Well, I haven't had those moments yet, but it's
okay. That's good. That's good. Or a stubborn client or something falls through, whatever it is. Good to be able to step out and hit that bike or whatever it is that recharges you. So, Rob, then let's talk about the Icon Award, right? Let's first talk about how many houses did you have to sell in your market to cap or Icon?
Yeah. So in my market, I think I Icon rated about 41 or 42 homes. And that took, I think I guess I officially became an Icon agent in December, and we joined in January. So, it took me, we'll call it 11 months, but really you get that mark at about the 9 or 10 month range. And of course, everything has to close and unfold. So so typically, I want to do close to 50 ends per year. And then of course this year I have an even larger number where I want to get to, of course, as I continue to grow. But yeah, it was right around the 41 mark, I think it was, where I got the Icon. And it was at a really pivotal moment because my wife and our 2 youngest children were en route to Vegas for EXP Con.
Okay.
And that's when I found out that I had hit Icon. So that was a really neat moment to know that I was going to be at, my first, well, I guess in 2 years because of the pandemic, time to travel and really experience a different side of EXP and to see the speakers that were there and everything that was going on. So it was a really cool time for me to find out that I was going to get my Icon.
No, absolutely. That's really cool. And then you're at EXP Con and everybody's like, what do you do? Well, I'm an Icon agent as of yesterday, but I made it.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah.
No, that makes it all the more special. And actually you do get benefits from going to EXP Con as an Icon agent. So that's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, I'm already pre-registered for this year, so I'm ready to go.
Good. I'll be there too. So make
Awesome.
sure you're on the lookout for me because I'll be on the hunt for you. Get connected and stuff. That'll be great. So then, Rob, we touched on it just a moment ago about giving back culturally and how important it is. So, my guess would be that maybe you're a mentor, but you can take so many different routes with that. You could be vetting other icons. You can be a mentor, a coach. You could be teaching classes in EXP world. So how do you give back to EXP as an icon agent?
Yeah, so giving back to EXP would certainly be with the Canadian Coaches Program currently that, we meet every other Wednesday. So, I learn a lot just from listening to the other coaches, but I was also a panelist on one of the new agent, the first week session where they have the little fireside chat. And, it was really neat to talk to 140 new agents in a virtual setting. I'm not a gamer, so I don't really, understand all the metaverse and all that stuff. But it was really cool to sit in these chairs with, 3 other Canadian icons and chat to the group. So it was a real pleasure, and I hope to do more of that.
Absolutely. No, that's really cool. And just proximity is power. So being around other people and not always being the smartest person in the room is so important. And EXP has plenty of rooms to put you in where I promise you'll never find yourself being the smartest.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be, and you shouldn't want to be anyway, because it's just this career is just continued learning process. You can never stop. Literally, like when you think that you're an expert agent in 2000, and then all of a sudden social media comes out and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't need to do social media. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
I've got agents that are killing it and they get 80% of their closed deals from social media.
Wild.
Incredible. So, it's always an evolve or get left behind industry here, which is fine for those who seem to come over to EXP. They're ambitious anyway. They raise their hands and they want to be involved. And I think it's awesome. And then, Rob, so my next question is, why is this slipping my mind right now? Talk about culture. Oh, I remember now. I do this all day, every day. Why can't I remember these questions? So my favorite part, well, not my favorite part. What's your favorite part of the Icon Award, right? So is it the big shiny award? Is it getting to go to EXPCon and shareholders? Is it the fact that you can earn your cap back, the stock options, being involved with mentees, the EXP world? What really makes Rob say, I'd like to icon again next year, and like what makes you keep setting this as your goal? I mean, other than like production set aside, obviously, what makes you keep saying like, wow, I want to keep striving for icon?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question because, obviously the financial reward is one thing, but, the ability to be able to share with your clients that you've hit this achievement, it actually gives you quite a bit of clout in the region that you serve. And also when other agents are asking you about EXP and you're able to be that example of, one of few agents that hit that status, and how you get there, but you don't spend 24 hours a day working. Yeah. You're able to balance your life and you're able to have an active lifestyle. You're able to relax, you're able to vacation, you're able to eat supper every night with your family, but still achieve this wonderful status of icon. And yes, the shares that you get back are wonderful. I mean, I see that, like I said, in my ShareWorks, and you see those grow, and that's great. But I really like it when I can talk to an agent that's experienced, that happens to be working at another brokerage, that's maybe having a bit of a rough time, or they don't understand and they don't like the culture at their office or whatever it is. And then we can talk about this non-brick and mortar culture office that we have, but yet we still have the world to meet and collaborate in. We still have all kinds of other ways that we can work together. And just this morning before I came here, oddly enough, I sat down and had coffee with one of the not new agents. He's been around for a while. One of the agents that I attracted into EXP. And, I'm teaching him how to use different systems and things of that nature. So those are the moments I really enjoy.
Absolutely. No, that's incredible.
Yeah. So to get icon every year, that those are the things I want to keep doing. and being able to share that and be the example.
Yeah, and it really gives you credibility too when you're attracting new agents or getting referrals from, who knows where else in this world for them coming to Canada. When other EXP agents are like, "Hey, I've got a client coming to Canada. Who can I trust to take care of these people?" Well, I'm an icon agent. Well, that's easy. This guy is doing something right. And so that's really cool. I'm really excited that you've enjoyed, EXP and the culture altogether. It seems like, you really speak levels for what EXP strives to be for its agents and people and clients. So I think that's awesome, Rob. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to put you in a scenario here, right? Let's say I just recently passed my real estate exam. And like everything's fine. I've got everything submitted to the real estate commission, like all of that stuff in the past. I'm with EXP. I'm under your team. It's my first day in office with you, right? And I'm like, okay, Rob, like we're talking about goals here. I've never even written an offer letter, but I want an icon this year. What kind of talk would you have with me to bring me to a realistic level, right? Is that obtainable for me? What are some goals I should set out for? And maybe where are some areas that you failed in the past reaching for icon that I can try to avoid?
Yeah, that's a really great scenario. Obviously, the first thing I'd say is you got to sign up for boot camp, and learn from not just myself, but from other of the best in the industry. And setting that goal, if a brand new, fresh out of school agent says, "Hey, I want to icon this year,"
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to limit them. I'm going to say it's doable, right? And what I like to do is I used to do it with my daughters and my son. It's chunky monkey, and it's the take those bite-sized pieces, right? Because it's the old saying, how do you eat an elephant, right? It's one bite at a time.
Right.
So don't just look at the goal as this one thing, but try to break it up into monthly, weekly, and then how do you get to that? Mm-hmm. So for me, I have coffee almost every day at the same coffee shop, right? And I have gotten business just by being there, right? People see you and they literally will come over and they'll say, "Oh, I recognize you from Instagram or someplace or whatever," right? And it kind of blows my mind. I'm a mid to late 40s person that tries to do social media sometimes, but so you get to interact with people. But I've had other agents that have been in the industry a long time, and they say, "Yeah, Rob, those are things that you're doing well. Like you're sitting there." And I said, "Well, my thing is to talk to 5 new people every day." Mm-hmm. And it's not 5 new people every day where I say, "Hey, I'm Rob Brown, I'm a realtor," and blah blah blah. It's introduce yourself to 5 new people, whether it be the person standing beside you in the grocery line or whatever. And you don't have to hand them a card. You don't have to be cheesy about it. You just have to try to spark a conversation of some sort.
Yeah.
And it was really tough during the pandemic because we couldn't do that.
Right. And it was awkward.
We had a lot of lockdowns.
Like you couldn't talk to anyone or far. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah. So I was very fortunate that the first 3 years of my real estate career, I was able to sort of do those things, right? And some days I didn't do it, and you could tell when you didn't do it, right? But that would be one thing that I would tell a new agent is you've got to, talk to even just 5 people. It doesn't have to be new people, right? But at least talk to 5 people. Invite a friend to coffee every day. Invite a friend to lunch once a week. It's not that you're trying to sell that friend. It's that you're trying to work that sphere of influence, because they also have another sphere of influence that they're going to talk about. And they're going to say, "Oh yeah, I had lunch with, Jane over at the Abbey Cafe. And, she mentioned she's going to sell her house. And I thought of you." Right. Yeah. And it's a contact sport. And if you're not checking into the boards and things like that, you've got to make contact. You really do. You can't pretend to handle the puck. You have to play. Right.
No, I love that. And you really have to lean into the warm leads, like you said, because you want to be at top of mind when somebody else is, buddy is selling their house. Well, I've got the guy for you. Right. So yeah. I think that's really good advice, and, leaning into those, and boot camp, everything else for the newbies. You got to hit the ground running. It's a big goal to achieve. It's doable, but you're going to have to work hard for it.
Yeah. And you have to do it authentically, and you have to be you, right? So with me, where I climb, and climbing was a newer sport for me, but I sponsored the climbing gym here in town.
Yeah.
So when people walk into that gym, they see my banner, and people talk amongst themselves at the climbing gym. And certainly I think I've sold 3 or 4 houses just from that community.
Yeah.
When it comes to biking, there's a certain group of people that I see on a regular basis, and they say, oh, hey, I heard Frank's looking to sell, you should give him a call. And you do, right? And
Yeah.
Frank's like, oh, I never even thought of that, and it's like, yeah, right, because you don't talk about what you do all the time, but they see what you do, what you're into, and you want to work with like-minded people. And
yeah, people pay attention. They
they
do.
do. I tell you, I had a neighbor who it was an awkward one, because I had a neighbor who had their house listed with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And they were a few doors away from me, but I
Yeah.
walked by them every day with my dog. And one day they called out my name, and I had no idea what their name were. Like they lived in my neighborhood. I shouldn't say neighbor. They lived, within a mile of my house. And so they called me in, and of course they said, we want to ask you some questions. I said, well, if it's about your house, I really can't talk about it.
Yeah. Like, what?
You got to call that lady that's on the sign if
Uh-huh.
you're having some problems. Well, turns out that they were having some problems.
Uh-huh.
And then they released the agent, and then they called me, and I sold their house.
Awesome.
But I got that business because I was just out in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking my dog, and other neighbors must have said, hey, one of our neighbors is a realtor, because they had hired a realtor that didn't live in that area.
Right.
And all of a sudden it was, it was a simple thing, but they chose me because of, my walking around with the dog. It's the weirdest thing that you can pick up a client.
It seems so simple, right? It really
Yeah.
is. It really is.
And just as a side, the other realtor that they mutually released, we're still good friends. Like, it's not, there's no hard feelings there. They understood the situation, but you just have to be out there, right? Where it's be visible. Don't be a secret agent.
Yeah, that's right. Don't be a secret agent. I love that. And Rob, we're coming up here on 22 minutes on the podcast. It's been a great episode so far. So my next question is going to be so you were fortunate, part of your team, like everybody was like, hey, EXP looks good. The model makes sense. Let's go. And so you guys made the jump. You left your brokerage. And that's hard, that sense of loyalty and making that switch and the fees and everything else. And so, for somebody that may be watching right now, they see the grass is greener at EXP. They hear the things like, other brokerages have started, right? Because they don't want to lose their agents. And EXP just sailed past 80,000. So
yeah.
we're finding these agents somewhere.
That's right.
But they're starting things like, hey, you don't want to go over there. EXP is a cult. It's a pyramid scheme. That's not the place for you. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, right? So they're sitting on the fence. They're like, oh, my God, but you can earn your cat back. Like, they're seeing this greener grass, and they're so scared to make the jump. If somebody right now who's in that position is listening, what would you have to say to them about coming over to EXP?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's such a, even though our team came, we still left it as an individual choice for the way our team is structured. So we each had to make our own decision. And when agents are considering, or they're saying, they think the grass is greener, but their broker or other team members or colleagues are saying, no, it's this, it's this, it's this. My approach is, we sit down, we have a coffee, and we just talk about what they want. Like, what do you want to get out of your career? Because that plays a lot into making decision, because maybe the brokerage they're at actually does make sense for them. Right. And maybe EXP doesn't. And sometimes, people are forced to do things, or they're made out to feel bad about a decision that they're about to make.
Yeah.
Which is really strange. If it's to build you and your career and to better serve your client, and EXP is the formula or the brokerage that works for you, then great. I had an agent that called me last year from another town, and he asked me some questions similar to what you just asked, but he has another job. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I put it back to him. I said, well, how much time does this other job take away from real estate, or does real estate take away from your other job? You know, because he'd said, what would make me unsuccessful? And I said, not giving enough time to build your career. And I said, maybe you need to join a team. And I actually referred him to another team at another brokerage. And now he's with that team, right?
Yeah.
So I don't mind having those honest conversations with people. EXP is not for everyone. It could be. I mean, if you got to, you know, it certainly is you know, I think, and I'm biased because I'm here, I think of looking at all the formulas, and we looked at Keller, we looked at Exit, we looked at Caldwell, we looked at, you know, all the different brokerages that we have available to us. But EXP just made the most sense, and not for short term, but for that long term, you know, to have those stocks. You know, stock markets go up and down, that's great, but if you don't have to cash out today and you can wait 10 years, having those stocks is a huge benefit, right? It's helpful for your retirement. It's helpful for putting your kids through college or whatever it's going to be down the road. And it doesn't come out of your pay. It's awarded to you, right? It's a benefit or a perk to being with EXP. So it's very helpful.
Absolutely, you know, and I've had icons that are like, I've already got my daughter's wedding paid for. I've got college paid for. Like, it's incredible. It's super exciting. And like, think about like the weight that has lifted off of you. And like his daughter was like 8, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, she's not even old enough to have her first boyfriend. You got her wedding paid for? Incredible. You know, but it's exciting. And I like what you said, you know, where EXP is not for everyone. It's not. And when we're recruiting agents, you know, a lot of like the misunderstanding out there is that like EXP is like recruit. Not really. Like, of course we want people in our downline out here, but you're not going to recruit somebody in your downline that is not capable, right? Because like, what does that do you if somebody comes over here and all they do is cause a mess and they don't ever sell a house? Like, that doesn't benefit you in any way. It doesn't really hinder you either, but like it really is, it does no point. Like, if they're not going to succeed here, there's no point in recruiting them. So, right, like you're going to have those hard conversations and find the right spot for them. Yep. And that's just what it is. It's the honest truth. It's absolutely, you know, it's not always the easiest conversation, but it is what it is here.
Yep, it is. And I've taken the approach where I've not called any agents to specifically ask them to join the EXP. I've only had agents reach out to me, and then we have that conversation, right? So it's the two that came over this month. They literally were phone calls that, you know, they call and said, hey, look, that's the conversation that I'd like to have. And we did. So.
I love that. That's incredible. Rob, you know, we are actually almost at 30 minutes now, and it's been an awesome episode. Very insightful. I've loved getting to know you. Is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with today before we wrap it up?
Wow. You know, just don't limit yourself, right? It's one of those things that sometimes we get ourselves pin ourselves into a corner and we think we're stuck there, but you know, there's other ways to be creative. When we've all been very creative in the last 2 years with the different restrictions that have been put on us because of, you know, this pandemic. We have created ways to get around how we present a house. You know, some people are doing video and virtual tours and things of that nature. I haven't hosted an open house in years, so it's so just don't limit yourself to what you think is the way real estate works. You know, it's been very eye-opening with EXP to sort of get a glimpse at how this, you know, the metaverse works and how we can work with people without actually being in the same room, but feel that we still belong to a community together. So it's really neat to learn all these things. So I would just say, get rid of the limits and, you know, just go for it. Just get up every day and put on a smile and get ready to work and talk to 5 new people and, you know, do your best. Just do your best. Yeah.
And speaking of the metaverse, you know, anybody watching right now, no matter where you're at, like I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, talking to Rob in Canada. It's incredible. And if you're like in Florida, you know, totally opposite end, of the continent from Rob, but you're like, man, like this guy gets it. He's my vibe. Like, I think I would love working with him. Reach out. That's the cool thing about the metaverse. You want to have a virtual coffee with Rob, make it work.
Yeah,
it's very
absolutely.
possible.
Yeah, I'd love that.
It's an exciting part of our culture here at EXP. So if that's somebody that you think you want to reach out to and connect with, do it. I promise he's not going to turn you away.
No.
Well, Rob, I think it's been an incredible episode. I'm going to be on the hunt for you at EXPCon. I look forward to reconnecting there. And in the meantime, if you ever want to do a spin-off episode or anything, you just let me know. It's a free podcast to you guys. So take advantage of it.
That'd be awesome. Thanks, Gina.
Of course, Rob. And thank you so much for your time today. And we will be reconnecting soon.
All right. See you later.
Thanks, Rob. Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.